What up, guys? Torres boxing, guys. I just want to give my thoughts on Danny Garcia scoring a TKO victory over Adrien Granados. And man, Danny Garcia, I tuned in maybe like 3 rounds into the fight. I had no idea that it started that early, guys. And maybe obviously I should have been on top of that. I saw Fox and I saw that there was something going on at 10:30. So I'm like, man, I guess gonna start around that time. I'm used to seeing fights a little bit later into the day, but I tuned into Fox and it was already 3 rounds into it. But from the moment I started watching round 3 and onwards till the end of the fight, Garcia was dominating Granados, and I didn't expect Granados to come up short like that. I really expected Granados to come in with a determination to really win the fight. And I'm not gonna take anything away from Garcia, because maybe obviously going into that fight, being a fighter is obviously gonna be way different than seeing it as a fan, as a spectator. So maybe Granados wasn't able to, was overwhelmed. Garcia's a good fighter, so obviously that's a factor, obviously, that Garcia's that good that Granados just really couldn't pull the trigger. So, I was expecting a lot more from this fight. I thought it was going to be a little bit more competitive. I thought that maybe Granados did have a chance to maybe upset Garcia, the favorite, in this fight, because he's got a lot of tenacity, he's got a lot of mettle, as the commentators acknowledged. But he really just didn't do anything that was really convincing. Even his own trainer said that if Granados didn't do anything, that he was going to stop the fight. So eventually, when the referee did stop the fight, it was a good call, because Granados was not going to go anywhere with that fight. He could have stood there and he could have gone down on his shield, and he could have continued to fight. Could have suffered a bad loss and gotten the praise from fans saying that, he stood his ground. But it was a good stoppage, because it wasn't competitive. So props to Garcia, who wins that. He was dominant. He really came in there and looked sharp, looked confident, was in control of the fight, was landing at will for most of the fight. So he looked good. He looked good, and he puts himself back into the mix as far as the top welterweight. So after the fight, it was kind of funny when because he's like, man, I hope I didn't scare Manny away. I don't think he's gonna scare Manny away, because Manny obviously is at a different stage in his career where he's looking for the biggest fights, to kind of close out his career. But he did call him out. He called out Errol Spence Jr., which Errol Spence right now is the boogeyman of the division, and he said he'd like rematches against Porter and or Thurman. So those are all great fights for Garcia, but congratulations to Danny Garcia, who looked dominant in this fight, in a fight that many, I think, were expecting it to be a little bit more competitive than what it turned out to be. Granados just didn't have an answer for Garcia. Garcia was just turned on this night. He kept coming at him. He had him figured out, and he was the aggressor throughout the fight. And he just, Garcia, Granados in a way looked shot. I hate to say it because he's still young, but he, I don't know. Maybe it was just an off night. Maybe Garcia was just that good. But Granados obviously didn't give the performance that many of us were expecting. Even if he lost, we all thought that he was going to make it a little bit more competitive, but it wasn't. But like I said, props to Garcia. Not going to take anything away from him. He had a superb performance. He did his job. He looked good after, suffering his 2 losses to Keith Thurman and Sean Porter. A lot of people have been counting him out as, maybe one of the weaker links in the division. But I think this established him as, again, he puts him into the equation as a top 147-pounder and back into the title contention. So let's see what's next, guys. Who do you want to see Garcia up against next? I think a Pacquiao fight would be great. I'd like that fight for Pacquiao. If he can't get Mayweather, which is the fight that I'd love to see him in, because I feel like he deserves the paycheck, and he doesn't have anything else left to prove. I would much rather see Pacquiao at 40 years of age go up against Danny Garcia, because I feel like their styles mesh well, and it would turn out to be an exciting fight. If not, then, you know, Garcia definitely, Errol Spence is the dangerous fight for any welterweight out there. But that's an exciting fight too. Garcia, I don't think he would back down from that fight. I think he would obviously, you know, maybe go into the fight as the underdog, but I think he'd give it his all. And rematches against Keith Thurman and Sean Porter are very appealing. I like those fights because those were competitive fights. So what do you guys think? Guys, go let me know in the comment section. Subscribe to this channel if you like it. Visit TorresBoxing.com and follow us on Instagram at TorresBoxing, guys. Have a good night. God bless you.